The materials you will need for this will be watercolor paper, brushes, a water container, a painting palette such as a plate or a tray, instant coffee, napkins, painter's tape, a spoon, and white paint or a white pen are optional. You will begin by taking your watercolor paper and cutting strips of painter's tape and adhering it to your table. You will line the tape along the edges to create a clean border. Once you're done taping, you can take your pencil and begin to lightly sketch mountains on the paper. After you're done, you can go ahead and mix your coffee washes. So we're gonna take the spoon and adding to our painting palette, we're gonna add a little bit of coffee and then slowly as we move to the right, begin to add more and more coffee to the little sections because this will give us different shades of coffee once we're painting. Then we're gonna take the same spoon and add the same amount of water to each tray. Once we have done that, we can go ahead and mix our coffee with a brush to make sure that it is evenly and thoroughly mixed and begin to fill in the mountains in the center area or midground of your painting. Just fill them in lightly all the way, but don't paint in the stuff in the foreground. Leave that for later. Once it's dry, you can go back and with a darker shade, you will add outlines and shadows and details to your mountains. And you can add as many layers of this as you want to give it depth. If you make any mistakes or have pooling occurring where there's like a puddle of coffee, you can always take a napkin and lift up or lightly tap on the surface to remove that water. Again, like I said, leave it to dry and then continue to add more layers of different shades of brown to give your painting a little bit more a realistic appearance. Once that layer has dried, you can go again with a darker shade and fill in the mountains in the foreground. And you repeat the same thing as you did with the ones in the back. You wait for it to dry, add more layers, wait for it to dry, and add more layers. You can always go back with a clean brush and muddy your colors to give them atmospheric perspective. You can also go and add light shades into the furthest background area to make it look like there's objects even in the furthest part of your painting. And at the end, you can leave it to dry. And as I said, it's optional, but you can take a white pen or white paint and add any highlights to any areas that you decide are needed or any place you might have made a mistake. And once it's fully dry, you can remove the tape, and that should be your completed watercolor coffee wash painting.